How's it going, guys? Andy here, and welcome to another episode of
Readers' Questions.
Today's question comes from Instagram, and it goes a little something like this. Which Amazon marketplace should I start selling in? Arbitrage, Wholesale, or private label? So this is a question that got sent to me via the DM on Instagram. I actually thought it was worth chatting about here, so just going to spend a couple of minutes going into a few details. So if you have decided to start making money on Amazon, you do have a few choices of market to go into. Firstly, you have online arbitrage and retail arbitrage, which is quite a funky sounding name, but it simply means making money on the difference between prices on the internet or on the high street, and that is selling on Amazon. So if you go to a website on Tinternet and you find something selling cheaper on there and you can make more money on Amazon, you buy online, send it into Amazon and make a little bit of money. And you can do exactly the same in the retail high street, which is retail arbitrage, which is simply going into shops, looking in their sales sections, finding items that are going for more money on Amazon, purchasing those items and sending them into Amazon. Pretty straightforward, really. Then we have another area which people generally group together as private label, which is essentially finding an in-demand niche on Amazon. So finding something that people are already looking for, or basically copying something that is already selling on Amazon, then going to somewhere like China, getting it spec'd up and have someone make it for you in China, or buy from someone who already makes it in China, which is unbranded, which means you can buy it if you want, put your own branding on it and sell it under your own business name as your own product. Now, this is a little bit more involved. You have to research your market first. You have to be absolutely sure you're finding items which already have a demand, because you're going to be putting in a lot more upfront time. Once you've found a desirable item, you're then going to have to locate that item somewhere in China, either get it spec'd up and produced specially for you, or finding it already through sites like Alibaba or DHgate. Then you're going to have to check out the supplier and make sure he's on the level, maybe get samples sent over to you, assess the samples, see if they're any good, maybe make a small sample order, get them couriered to you, create a listing on Amazon, add whatever branding that you want to the item, and then start promoting your own listing. You have to deal with things like custom barcodes. Then you have to drive traffic to your listing, get as many reviews as you can. There's a lot more involved. Basically, you're starting from absolute scratch. With retail and online arbitrage, you're already buying a popular item that the company has spent hundreds of thousands of pounds advertising on TV and radio and general brand awareness. So when something comes out, it's already a desirable item. So you're just jumping on that and selling it for your profit. When you're making your own brand and your own item, you've got to create that desire and drive traffic to that particular item. So there's a lot more upfront work. There's no guarantees that you're going to get a lot of sales, but ultimately the profit can be very good if you do get a successful item, because quite often you can be buying it very cheaply in China, so you could have a very healthy profit margin once you start selling it. And obviously, because it is something that you're buying in, you should be able to keep repeat ordering the item, and it should be a long-term thing. Although nothing lasts forever, there are a lot of trends and things like that that have an expiry date and ultimately lose popularity. And so you may think, all I need to do is build 2 or 3 really successful items, and then I'm happy days, I can retire to the beach and watch the sales come in. Unfortunately, a lot of these things do have a lifespan, and so you've always got to be looking for the next thing, researching the next item, finding the next hot trend and getting ahead of it, really, to find something that's worthwhile doing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. People have made an awful lot of money. I've got friends that are in this niche and they make serious amounts of money by doing it. So it's absolutely fine if you want to go down that route. But I would say, if you do want to go into private label, focus on that. Spend the time really understanding that market. Learn as much as you possibly can. Learn from people that have the experience and are already doing it. It is a bit of a minefield. You can stray into issues with intellectual property and trademarking. You don't want to accidentally copy something that is already copyrighted and things like that. So there are snags, and ultimately you could be spending a lot of time up front where you're not making money and then have it only sell a few every now and again. And that would have been a lot of invested time up front for little returns. So in my opinion, if you're looking to get started with Amazon from scratch, I would suggest you go into something other than private label straight away. Learn Amazon, understand how Amazon works, get a bit of experience, and then maybe look at private label if you must later on, because it is something that can take up a lot of time. And if you've already got retail on online arbitrage stuff, maybe wholesale stuff going on, maybe you're making money already, you can then, as an additional thing, start looking at private label whilst you're making money from the other lines. So you're not plowing all your time and effort into something whilst you're not making any money. That's just my advice. A private label is probably something that you go on to later with a bit of experience. It's certainly possible to do it from scratch, but the learning curve will be a lot more steeper. There's a lot more stuff to understand, and there's certainly no guarantees that you're going to make some money from that. So moving on from private label, you've got things like wholesale and liquidation, which is pretty self-explanatory. You find a wholesaler that you can create an account with. You then go through their inventory of available stock. You find items that are going for good money on Amazon. You then make your order. You send it into Amazon. You make money. When it runs out, you buy some more and carry on like that. But it is important to remember, with the reliability you get with wholesale, where you can keep repeating the orders and you keep asking for more, that's the strength of wholesale, but the weakness is generally the profit margins will be lower. If you're used to buying online and retail arbitrage stock where you might be hitting 70-80% profit margin on a regular basis, you're not going to get half that with wholesale. You're lucky to sort of hit 30-35% oftentimes with wholesale. So it's more about the numbers. You need more of it. You need strong selling items that you can just restock. And obviously, if you're only making £3 or £4 per item, that's fine. If you're selling 20 items a day, it's all good. But just be aware, if you're used to the profit margins of retail and online arbitrage, you will not get that with wholesale, or you won't very often get that with wholesale. So that's just an explanation of the different marketplaces. Now the question was, which should I choose? And it really is up to you. One marketplace isn't better than any other marketplace. It's more about what you do with them. You can choose any of them, and if you put your heart and soul into it and hustle and really work, you're going to do absolutely fine. If, however, you start and do a bit of arbitrage, and then maybe try wholesale and then get stuck there, and then maybe try private label, you're going to risk getting distracted with all different things and not actually making any traction. So what I would say to you is, if you still haven't made up your mind, then choose one and stick to it. Really go into it, learn as much as you possibly can, really dive deep into the marketplace, understand it, live it, breathe it, sleep it, and really get as much information as you can on it. And then once you really understand it and you have a good experience and you're making good money and things are knocking along nicely, then you might add another marketplace like wholesale whilst doing online and retail arbitrage. You can add to it rather than jumping from one to another, which doesn't really get you any further. So that's all there is to it, really. Now, I've coached a lot of people in this industry over the years, and without fail, there is always a reason why people do well, why people do a little well, and why people don't really do well at all. And it always comes down to mindset. It comes down to your belief in yourself. If you doubt the process, if you doubt your own talents, you're going to struggle. If you put your head down, put your heart and soul into it, really work, hustle, and believe you can do it, that's when you're going to get the success and the traction in your business. Do not underestimate how your own mental attitude can affect your business. So get your head right first. Choose an area you want to get into and understand that this opportunity is the biggest opportunity that you'll ever find, and get to work. If you put barriers in your way, if you have doubts, if you start thinking it's not going to work, it won't. All of my students that have made big money on Amazon have just got cracking. They've taken my advice and put it into practice. They've hustled, they've worked hard, and the results have come for them. And they've moved on and got better and better and better. I can't force people to make a successful business, but it does disappoint me when I know they have all the tools at their disposal to make a profitable business, and it's their own mental attitude that is standing in the way from their own success. It's frustrating. And that's something I really concentrate on in my FBA Academy training, is the right mental attitude, really helping the individual to understand how much power over their own destiny that they hold and how much ability to totally change their life they have. And I try to help them understand that and really nurture the people that have doubts and help them understand that they can really make it happen. And it doesn't come down to academic ability. It doesn't come down to who's smarter than who. It comes down to implementing a process. That's all it is. It's not magic. It's a process. We're analyzing and acting on data here. Once you understand the data, you understand the flow of data, you understand what it's telling you, you can then act on that data. It's very simple and everyone can do it. So if you have any questions about this, hit me up in the comments box below. If you like this video, a thumbs up would not go amiss. I would appreciate that. More videos coming out for you next week. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name's Andy Lawrence and I will catch you on the very next video. Bye for now.